Hello and welcome to myfinanceteacher.org. Let's talk about crude oil today. And first thing to say is, although in my previous video I did think that we were close to an intermediate cycle low, I still did expect some further weakness in crude oil before we would start a new intermediate cycle. But over the last week, with the strength in crude oil, it's pretty clear that we have seen an intermediate cycle low with this double bottom that formed on the 5th of June and on the 12th of June. Since I was expecting a further weakness in crude oil, I have not really entered much in terms of long positions on USO. I usually trade USO. Although I do have my long-term hold of large oil producers, and I don't trade them, I just hold them over the long term. Those are Shell, BP, and some other companies that also actually pay a nice dividend. But besides the long-term holdings, so far I've missed this move in crude oil. I want to enter into some USO trade. And I think there might be a chance brewing sometime soon, because just above the price, we see a confluence of 50-day moving average, 100-day moving average, and 200-day moving average. Besides that, just above those moving averages is the price level of 60, which is a psychological round number for crude oil. So that price range between these moving averages and 60 might prove to be some sort of a resistance, maybe, but I'm not actually certain about that, because we are very early in the intermediate cycle. We are even very early in the daily cycle for crude oil. So there is a chance that the confluence of moving averages might prove to be some sort of a resistance, but the likelihood of that is not extremely high. So what I think crude oil is going to do over the next short term is either chop around this resistance level for a while before breaking out, since we are early in the intermediate cycle. Or a more preferable outcome for me, since I want to add to long positions in crude oil, is maybe crude oil is going to pull back down a little bit from that resistance, take a second swing at that resistance, and then break above that level. Possibly retest 60 before moving higher. One thing that might help crude oil to cool down here, maybe into mid-50s, is the US dollar. Over the last few days, the US dollar has finally broke down below the 200-day moving average, but if it retests that moving average before breaking lower, that might actually give us a short-term, very short-term pull down in crude oil. In any case, the likelihood of this short-term price drop in crude oil is not very high. In general, over the medium term, I'm pretty bullish on crude oil. Looking at a slightly longer term chart, this is a weekly chart of crude oil. Over the next medium term, I think there is a good chance that crude oil reaches for this downtrend line that has been established all the way since the oil price crash in 2014. Since then, in 2017, 2018, we see that on the weekly chart, crude oil regained the 200-week moving average, retested that late last year, successfully retested that again over the last few weeks, and it's now poised probably to reach for that downtrend lines, and that would give us crude oil prices of high 60s, probably $70, possibly even slightly more than that over the next several weeks, couple of months, especially as summer and driving season helps the crude oil price to climb higher. So that's my opinion on crude oil. What do you guys think? Are we going to break above that trend line in the current intermediate cycle? Are we going to see $80 crude oil by September? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button. Don't forget about that notification bell as well. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And of course, good luck with your trades.